Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Joseph Benavidez to defeat Davison Figueiredo. And I'm here to talk about Ismael Bonfim versus Vinc Pichel, who is in fact from hell. You got to remember that. Vinc Pichel is 40 years old. He's 14-3 as a pro. And he's got 2 inches of height and 1 inch of reach over 27-year-old Bonfim, who is 19-4. So, good amount of experience in Bonfim's corner, despite Vinc Pichel being 13 years older. And that's because he's been in the UFC for almost 10 years now, and he fights every year and a half or something. Vinc Pichel, he's got 14 wins, 3 losses. The 14 wins include 8 TKOs and 6 decisions. 0 submissions, which is relevant here because Ismael Bonfim has 4 losses, and they're all via submission, all in round 1 too, I believe. Round 1 as well, I should say. Vinc Pichel, he's got 3 losses, 1 via TKO, 1 via submission, 1 via decision. The TKO was a slam to Rustam Khabilov. I think that was in his first fight in the UFC or somewhere close. He got slammed, and then there were a few punches afterwards, but the slam is what did it. And the submission loss he has comes to Gregor Gillespie, who is just a monster on top, Gregor. And he's a guy who fights even more infrequently than Vinc Pichel. These guys, they should rematch each other the next time the fucking locusts descend from the sky. But I don't even know what the fuck that means. Either way. Gregor submitted him with an arm triangle in round 2. That's his specialty. And the decision loss comes to Marco Madsen in his last loss. A fight in which I thought Vinc Pichel was about to take over. Looked good in round 2, taking away the wrestling. And then he got a little too caught up in the moment and allowed the wrestling back into the fight. So that was a tough one that he let slip through his fingers. But that's it as far as his losses go. He was also beaten by Al Iaquinta on The Ultimate Fighter way back when by decision. But Vinc Pichel, historically, very tough guy to beat and put away. And he's a plus 350 here against Ismael Bonfim. Bonfim is an excellent fighter, really well-rounded, great boxing, and vulnerable, though. Again, like I said, 4 losses, all 4 of them are via submission, all in round 1. Even if 3 of them are to very, very good fighters today. And some of those losses come almost 10 years ago. But despite all that context, he's still got 4 losses, and all 4 of them are via submission. And I believe all 4 of them are in round 1. Adriano Moraes guillotined him, and everybody else choked him out. Moicano, Benoit Saint-Denis, and this guy Jefferson Lucas. Ismael Bonfim is a problem for him, but again, Vinc Pichel doesn't have 1 submission victory. So on paper, he shouldn't win this fight. But I think Vinc Pichel has that veteran savvy and a good, well-rounded skill set where just being the UFC veteran and having been in a lot of competitive 15-minute fights at the UFC level, I think it's something. It's not nothing. I mean, he's the guy that outlasted Jim Miller and even underrated guys like Roosevelt Roberts, Austin Hubbard. These guys, especially Austin Hubbard, that guy's a grinder. And Vinc Pichel, well, I can't say there's no sign of him slowing down at 40 or almost 41 because, he fights every fucking 18 months. Still, I have to see it to believe it. And I don't think Ismael Bonfim has the wrestling of Marco Madsen. I don't think he has the jiu-jitsu of Gregor Gillespie combined with the wrestling, just that top-game grappling. And I don't think he's got the wrestling slam prowess of Rustam Khabilov. So while I don't think Vinc Pichel plugs into Ismael Bonfim's losses, I don't think Ismael Bonfim plugs into Vinc Pichel's losses. Not so easily anyway. I see the skill set and the upside with Ismael Bonfim. If you don't believe me, go watch my last video where I blew him before he fought Benoit Saint-Denis. And then I looked like a jerk-off when he got smoked. But I think a lot of them, but here I'm betting against him. I'm betting on Vinc Pichel. I absolutely see the value. I threw a sprinkle on him winning by decision at plus 550, but his money line at plus 350, which covers everything, is still enticing. I just think they got these odds wrong. But if you put a gun to my head and said, who are you going to pick? You get it wrong, you die. Yeah, I'll go with Ismael Bonfim. Vinc Pichel, he's from hell, which, that's a strike against you. He's old, now in his 40s. And despite not having the most mileage on him and whatever, it's still, he's in his 40s. And Ismael Bonfim is a deadly guy with a good work rate and, good cardio as well. Ismael Bonfim. Again, all four of those losses are in round one. None of them are due to cardio, and he's won 6 decisions himself or whatever. So, Ismael Bonfim has a lot going for him. I think it'll be too much for Vinc Pichel, but the bet is absolutely Vinc Pichel. Because what if you're wrong? If you're wrong, then you're standing across from Vinc Pichel in round 2, and he's a guy that's already grounded out some very good established UFC level fighters, and here he is with his fucking mustache, and he's not going anywhere. So, the pick is Bonfim, the bet is Pichel. You've heard all this shit before. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and you'll hear it again. Although if you already subscribed, maybe, I don't know, just give me a like or whatever. Alright. Kind of killed the momentum there.